Good evening. I'd like to talk about our favorite green one-eyed monster, Mike Wazowski from the movie Monsters, Inc. Mike works with his partner Sully to scare children day in, day out. But one day, a little girl, Boo, escapes out of her human realm and into the monster world. "Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me," Mike screams. Right away, Mike presumes an innocent little girl to be evil and dangerous for no reason other than her being foreign and unfamiliar. But by the end, Mike Wazowski learns two important lessons. One, that laughter is much more effective than fear. And two, that Boo isn't toxic just because she is different. Class of 2017, remember, when faced with adversity or diversity, just keep your eyes open. We're blessed with twice the number of eyes as Mike Wazowski, so why can't we learn twice as much? As you listen to the next 18 speeches, I'll leave you with his best advice. Go ahead, go grow up. Thank you.
The life of an outcast can be a lonely one. Scar from Lion King was overshadowed by his brother Mufasa his whole life and had his right to the throne stolen by his nephew Simba. Scar manifests a deep loathing for his family and develops a personality to match his deceitful appearance. Though I hope none of us are driven to the extremes of treachery and murder, most of us know what it's like to be an outsider. I'd like to remind you that we all share more in common than we think. We are like a pride of lions, and despite this lion-eat-lion world, our foundation can be found in our loyalty and our sense of duty to our own kind. Let your aspirations, not your jealousy, fuel you towards creating a better world. It's finally our time to venture out into the world and prove that our teeth and ambitions are bared. Be prepared.
In addressing Toby Flenderson from The Office, the beloved Michael Scott says, "Why are you the way that you are? I hate so much that you choose to be." But in spite of such ridicule by his boss, Toby persevered. He stuck to his guns, continuing to be the annex geek we all came to love. Time and time again, Toby was mocked, made fun of, and degraded by regional manager Michael Scott, but that never changed who he was. When we face adversity as Toby did, it's important to take a lesson from his actions. Be true to who you are. Don't worry about those people who try to bring you down for their own sake. No one else in this world is just like you, and if that's not something to be proud of, I don't know what is. Thank you.
In the BBC television series Sherlock, consulting detective Sherlock Holmes is faced with a scheming villain whose influence pervades not only London, but the entire criminal world. Jim Moriarty taunts Holmes, saying, "You once called your brain a hard drive. Well, say hello to the virus." Moriarty is an expert manipulator, and likewise, many people will try to mess with your head in an attempt to sow self-doubt or convince you that what you're doing is not enough. Peer pressure can make you feel as though you are playing a game in which every move is calculated in an effort to win, no matter how that is defined. Don't let the beliefs and actions of others infect your mind, making you lose sight of your true aim in life, to find a passion and run with it.
Last summer, Kevin Durant abandoned his close friend and teammate of 8 seasons, Russell Westbrook, in search of a ring with the Golden State Warriors. Upon Durant's exit, many pundits predicted that Westbrook would struggle to recreate the success the Oklahoma City Thunder had seen in the past. Contrary to this expectation, Westbrook flourished, setting NBA records, averaging a triple-double, and leading his team to the playoffs. As we enter the next stage of our lives, there will be times people tell us we are too young, too inexperienced, or too small to make a difference. But we are ready. Over the past 4 years and in every year prior, we have been continually developing into individuals who are determined and prepared to make an impact on the world. It's time to decide who to listen to, the critics or ourselves.
When life gets you down, you know what you gotta do? Just keep swimming. In finding Dory, Dory with her memory loss was separated from her parents as a child. While looking for her parents, she ran into many obstacles. She was captured, placed in the quarantine section and tagged, and unable to recall life details. However, Dory remained strong and persisted the troubles, swimming on and on until she reached her parents. You will, in some point of your lifetime, experience failures like Dory. Don't let those moments put you in despair, but be like Dory, never give up, and just keep swimming towards your goals.
As a child, Simba from Lion King successfully escaped from a rush of wild wildebeest, but he lost his dad, Mufasa. Simba returns as an adult to take his homelands back, to continue his father's legacy, and he says, "I can't go back. What would it prove anyway? You can't change the past." Whether your years in high school were perfect or filled with mistakes, you can choose what path you will walk upon. It's futile to try to change what's been done, but now the future is moldable in our hands.
Little John once approached Robin Hood and said, "Robin, I was just wondering, are we good guys or bad guys?" Anyone who knows Robin Hood understands the controversy behind this question. The rich, who Robin stole from, would tell you he was a villain, while the poor would describe him as a hero, one who helped him when they needed it most. The reality is that life is just as gray as Little John's question. Some are going to see what you do as evil, while others view it as heroic. What's important is how you see it. Looking forward to the journey ahead of us, Robin Hood should serve as an inspiration. Now, I'm not saying go rob a bank, but simply that you should do what is right, regardless of how it is seen. Remember, just because you're a villain in the eyes of some doesn't make you a villain in the eyes of all. Sometimes it's okay to be seen as a little evil.
There's 104 days of summer vacation.
And really, school comes along just to end it.
So the annual problem
For our generation, is finding a good way to spend it. Phineas and Ferb taught us many lessons while we were growing up, and they still can today.
First, the two brothers were especially positive, almost crazily so.
Optimism can not only lead to a sense of fulfillment in life, but it can also inspire others.
In addition to their positive nature, Phineas and Ferb also demonstrate a firmness and persistence in their actions.
Recall every single time someone asked the boys, "Aren't you a little young to be doing this?"
To which their reply is always,
Yes, we are. Phineas and Ferb exhibited a limitless imagination, which would serve us well to replicate.
everything was possible in their backyard, whether it was building a rocket, fighting a mummy, or climbing up the Eiffel Tower.
Whether you're as social and open as Phineas or as reserved and mysterious as Ferb, remember that cooperating with others, even those completely different than you, can open any and all doors.
As you can see,
There really is a whole lot of stuff to do.
before school starts this fall.
So stick with us, because each of us can do it all.
Life moves pretty fast. Graduate high school, college, get a job, maybe marry, then get old and die. We're put into academies, but most of us are still choosing between Boom Boom Chicken or mozzarella sticks for lunch. Yet the stigma surrounding being undecided makes you sound unplanned and likely to end up in your parents' basement. But how does anyone know? Life plans are probably the most overrated thing in high school, besides $40 parking passes and walking to door A from church. Stuck in high school, there's no way we can fathom the opportunity, the diversity, and the mayhem at our footsteps, but you only limit yourself with the life agenda. As a senior, everyone asks, what do you want to become? And if you don't know, that's okay. It is this exploration, this unpredictable discovery, that makes these next years shine the brightest. My fellow terrified graduates, let us embark on the most uncertain yet brilliant time of our lives. At least now we don't have to ask someone if we can use the bathroom before changing the world.
At first glance, Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender is just a blind, helpless little girl. In a battle between her and multiple strong, bulky men, nobody expects her to stand a chance. However, Toph stands strong and uses her blindness as her own asset. She doesn't rely on her eyes to see, but waits and feels the earth's vibrations with her feet to protect her opponent's attacks and ultimately win. We all, like Toph, have our own peculiarities, and people may underestimate us because of them. Embrace what makes you different. When people think that you're incapable or you just can't, prove them wrong and show them that you can.
If you've seen the show Everybody Hates Chris, you're probably familiar of the plight of 14-year-old Chris. Constantly facing bad luck, Chris faces humiliation from his family, friends, teachers, and neighbors. However, despite the difficult situation, Chris was persistent, and as the show progressed, so did his development as a person. Although Everybody Hates Chris is a lighthearted comedic television show, it provides a deep lesson that is important to remember as we transition from high school to the next step in the journey of our lives. There are many times when we may feel the world is against us and that we are incapable of handling the situation. However, although we may not be able to control all the factors around us, we can always control one thing: how we react. We are in control of our own lives, and with the proper determination and courage, we can overcome any obstacle and achieve success.
It is often said that change is inevitable, but how we change is up to us. Neville Longbottom shows us his extraordinary transformation when he enters Hogwarts as a clumsy boy with no natural aptitude, and through years of determination and grit, emerges as a magnificent wizard who helps defeat Lord Voldemort. Neville has shown us that though we may not be born with special skills or talents, we really can change who we are, and that even the least talented person can become a great wizard. Many of us, like Neville, will enter the next stage of our lives wide-eyed and fearful, and it is inevitable that we will encounter challenges that will undoubtedly change who we are. But I urge you to use these experiences to create your own magical transformation.
By developing his own shrink ray, devising a plan to steal the moon, and leading thousands of minions, Gru from Despicable Me has the power to become the world's greatest villain. Gru is ambitious and motivated, but he is also frustrated and bitter. Gru's life becomes rewarding not in his villainous acts and goals, but when he adopts 3 girls. The girls change his life, showing him kindness, empathy, and humor. It is through these values that Gru finally finds meaning and purpose. As we continue after high school, we must focus on our goals, but remember to keep an open heart and an open mind. It is when we view life with a new perspective that life is most rewarding.
As an optimistic snowman, Olaf had this attraction for summer. However, he was completely unaware of the consequences of this longing dream. A snowman enjoying summer is like tossing an ice cube in an oven and expecting it wouldn't melt. It's ridiculous. Everyone has big dreams, and often criticizing remarks like, "Are you insane?" can really damage us. Dreams are crushed from the politics of being successful, doing what others want you to do compared to what actually excites you. Whether your goals are to become a doctor, teacher, stay-at-home mom, or dad, or if you just want to finish a Chipotle burrito, anything's possible. The act of doing something you love and chasing your dreams sparks intellectual vitality. Never give up because someone says your dreams are too big. Remember the optimism Olaf had when chasing his dreams, and one day your self-interest can make your dreams worth melting for. Thank you.
All right, listen up. In 2004, film director Jared Hess masterfully crafted the outstanding motion picture Napoleon Dynamite, teaching us life lessons like don't let anyone touch your tots and always carry extra chapstick. But it's from Uncle Rico whom the most influential lesson derives. The moment we disconnect from the past is the moment we connect to the present. He may have been able to throw a pigskin a quarter mile and no doubt would have taken state if his coach played him back in '82. But through Uncle Rico's humor, we see that wallowing in would-haves, could-haves, and should-haves aids nothing but your fragile pride. And truth is in reality. In a few short years, the achievements you've made and problems you've faced while here will become trivial and seemingly mundane. So live your life such that you continue to trailblaze forward and onward while learning from your past but not residing there.
Greed is good. Greed is right. Greed works, says Gordon Gekko, the famous billionaire investor from the 1987 film Wall Street. What I admire about Gordon Gekko is his fierce ambition and his unwavering confidence. As a person with high standards for my future in the business world, these are 2 values that I hope will guide my professional career. But what makes Gordon Gekko a villain is his cruel insensitivity and his wrongful desire to gain at the expense of others. As we enter into a world that is overwhelmed with individualism, materialism, and narcissism, we must remember to replace the greed to benefit ourselves with the greed to benefit each other. Thank you.
The aforementioned characters embody a memorable part of each of our lives. Whether they were a hero, a villain, or something in between, each character represents a specific value that we found unforgettable. Shrek is memorable for me because amid great uncertainty, he left the comfort and safety of his swamp and embarked on a wild quest to save a princess. The swamp did not define Shrek, just as high school does not define who we are, or determine the people we will become, or dictate how successful we will be. Now that high school is ending, we can choose to remain in our comfort zones, or we can begin our own journeys. Like Shrek, we can slay our own dragons, and we can rescue our own princesses. Wherever life takes you in the next few years, don't be afraid to leave your swamp. Thank you.